the Water and Sewer Commission's meeting. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to please rise and face our flag that we have on top of the refrigerator. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, at this time, I'd like to, first introduce myself. I'm Steve Bishop, Chairman of the Water and Sewer Commission.
Jim Jordan, also Water Sewer Commissioner.
Steve Bernstein, also Water and Sewer Commissioner.
The whole team tonight.
And we have Weston and Sampson here today to do a presentation, Elm Street Sewer Extension, water main improvements. We're going to hold all questions till after, or during, or what would you like to?
However it flows.
However it flows. Okay, so
Keep it however people want to go.
if anyone
In
has
some
any
cases, it
questions,
might be better to let us get through some of the stuff. We may answer some of the questions as we go, but if there's something you want to ask that's on your mind, that's fine.
very good.
We don't have a huge audience, so
Well,
we'll work it out.
yep. Awesome. Thanks, Steve. Without further ado, take it away. Thank you.
So Ryan's going to run through the PowerPoint. I'll just give it, just as a quick introduction. So this is the second public meeting we've had. We decided when we were setting up the public outreach to give, a couple different opportunities in different locations for people to come. So we did basically the same presentation a few weeks ago at the library. So the presentation is very similar. Some things, have evolved over the last few weeks. The biggest thing being, so we've met with the Finance Committee, the Select Board, and at this point, the intent was to have an article on the upcoming town meeting this coming Monday, and at this point, we've kicked that can down the road. We're postponing it until the fall. The biggest reason that, based on the meetings that we've had with the other committees, is we've got some momentum going with the potential developer at 47 Elm, and we're trying to get some more solid information on what's potentially going to happen with that property, and buy some time for that, so that at the time of the town meeting vote, we'll have hopefully more definitive information on what it means for that property. That was one of the bigger concerns that was raised. So anyway, with that being said, I'll let Ryan run through the presentation, and we'll all be available to answer questions. Like I said, as we go, or if you wait till the end, we'll do it at the end.
Perfect. Thanks, Steve. So, the Bruins are on tonight, so I'll try to be as efficient as possible to get through this presentation.
If you want to see it.
Yeah, exactly. But we'll start out. I'll just give a quick overview of the project, go through some of the specifics and what we're proposing for the infrastructure improvements on Elm Street and Miller Terrace. Get into some of the background information, essentially how we got to where we are today and what are some of the driving forces behind, what the project is. As with all construction projects, there's an associated cost with it, so we'll run through some of the budgeted costs and what the current plans are to kind of recover those costs at the end of construction. And then try and finish up with some design status updates and where we're going to go from here. So the overall scope of the project includes approximately 4,800 feet of gravity sewer that's proposed to be installed along Elm Street and Miller Terrace. The proposed sewer is going to front approximately 50 properties along both of those streets. Gravity sewers will head down to a municipal wastewater pumping station. At this point, it's the somewhat low point of the area, which is down towards East Main Street on Elm Street. And simultaneously with the sewer work, we're looking to do approximately 4,500 linear feet of water main improvements to the existing water main. So upgrading the existing water main from its current status. And that's only on Elm Street, not on Miller Terrace. So really, the reason that we're here today kind of lies in the grant funding that the town was able to procure for this project. As you see up there, the design of the project was entirely grant funded through MassWorks and an economic development bill grant. And the town further pursued more grant opportunities.
Any more questions?
You said that was going to happen. You said it was
was gonna be on the betterment slide.
Yeah, that was when it was.
Whoa.
But through some further efforts, the town was able to procure a partial grant for the construction of the project, which is approximately $3.5 million. And it should be noted that that is one of the larger construction grants that MassWork awarded in the state. And really the impetus behind the grant funding lies with the potential redevelopment opportunities at 47 Elm Street. And I'm sure all the people here are pretty familiar with that property. I'm not going to get into the history of it here, but I did just want to outline that, as of 2015, the property's been in receivership when Reed Barton declared bankruptcy, and since then, the town and the state have made several steps to try and clean the site up, make it a viable, usable site for potential development. So the property at 47 Elm Street was identified as a priority economic target area in the town's 2021 master plan. One of the big things out of that master plan was the town's need for infrastructure investments to promote economic development throughout the entire town. Currently, DevCo North America is pursuing ownership of the property. Obviously, there's significant remediation work that needs to occur there before they can actually do anything on it. And the infrastructure improvements with water and sewer are absolutely necessary for the property to be fully developed. The most recent information we have right now is that DevCo is proposing the development of approximately 140 to 150 apartments and a little bit of commercial space on that site as well. So the project itself, the total budgeted cost can be broken down between the water main improvement work and the sewer extension work. Currently, the water main work is estimated, it's budgeted between $2 million and $2.4 million. Sewer works budgeted between $5.3 and $6 million, which gives us our total budgeted cost anywhere between $7.3 and $8.4 million. So diving even further, how are you going to pay for this project? Right off the top, the MassWorks grant, the construction grant, $3.5 million comes right off of the top of the total budgeted costs. The water main work, since it's an improvement to the existing water utilities, it'll be put on the water users through the water rates, so that $2 million to $2.4 million will be paid through the existing water rates and all the users. And if you take off the MassWorks grant, remove the water rates, that leaves a remaining share of $1.8 to $2.5 million that's needed to pay for the sewer project. So the big thing is how are you proposing to pay for that? So in the past, what we've typically done are betterment assessments. So when the sewer project's finished and it's been accepted by the town, the properties that are fronted by the project and are in turn bettered by the actual project being installed are issued a betterment to their property. Now, when we talk about issuing a betterment to the property, it's typically done through what we calculate as equivalent dwelling units, or EDUs. And in this case, one EDU is equal to a single family home. Right now, the total estimated EDUs for the project are anywhere between 209 and 219 EDUs. So to calculate the betterment cost, taking that remaining share and dividing it by the amount of betterments that we're projecting, we're looking at a resulting betterment range of anywhere from between $8,600 or $8,600 or $12,000. Once the sewer project is finished, that betterment assessment gets issued to the properties along the project area. Typically, you have 30 days to pay it up front if you opt to pay it up front. Otherwise, it gets assessed to your taxes and gets paid over 20 years with a 5% loan. And calculating that out, it's anywhere between $690 to $960 per year. One huge thing to point out, if we didn't have this MassWorks construction grant, the betterments are pretty much astronomical from what they would be with the betterments. So talking about the EDUs, I said there were about 50 properties that were fronted by the project. Right now, there's about 64 EDUs, so there's a couple, there's an apartment complex and a couple multifamily homes. So that essentially equates out to about 64 EDUs for the existing properties along Elm Street and Miller Terrace. The proposed development for 47 Elm Street, it's estimated about 140 to 155 EDUs. So based on those numbers, the 47 Elm Street developer is looking at, pretty much 70% of the remaining costs that they're gonna have to cover for it. So for the sewer connections, it's actually a town bylaw that it's necessary to connect into the sewer within 7 years. This has happened on all the other sewer projects. I know it started at 2 years, and then they went back and changed it to 5 years, and it subsequently has changed to 7 years. And really, this time requirement really helps out the user rates in limiting the impact on the user rates. The more people you have connected to the sewer, the lower the user rates are going to be in the end. And looking at some of the current water rates in the area, we're estimating approximately $100 per quarter for those sewer user rates. Regarding the actual tie-in costs at each of the properties, it really depends on several different factors. How far back your house is from the property line and from the street, what the digging conditions are going to be like out there, and essentially where you're trying to put that sewer service. Is it going to be in an area where it's all grass, or is it going to go underneath your existing driveway? It's up to you where you want to choose to put it. In talking with some of the local developers or the local construction companies that are responsible for doing some of these sewer connections, they're seeing an average cost range, assuming 100 feet back from the road and standard digging conditions, anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000 for that tie-in fee. And looking at, some comparative costs for Title V systems, they're seeing anywhere, they say on average it's about $20,000. There's an example, I think it's over on Talbot Street, that we've been told it was upwards of $40,000 to replace their septic system. One new thing that we looked into a little bit since the last meeting was the Title V loan program. So the Board of Health actually uses this Title V loan program to assist homeowners in fixing their septic systems, and it can be used for new sewer connections. So similar to the betterment assessment, you can have the Board of Health, you can get a loan through the Board of Health. It's a 15-year loan, a 5% loan that's paid over 15 years through the property taxes as well. So getting into the design status, the current design grant, we need to be finished with the design by the end of the fiscal year, so by the end of June. So we're currently wrapping up final design right now. Some of the major things that we look at as we go into the final design and kind of shape what the cost of the project is going to be are pump station site options, where the force main is going to discharge into from the pump station, and as everybody likes to talk about, what's below the surface, what are we going to be digging through in the area. Right now, the potential pump station site is down at Library Park. It's not the ideal site that we'd like to use, but it's one of the better options that we have with all things considered. And regarding the force main routing, it's going to tie into the existing sewer that's over on Pine Street, into the existing force main that comes from the town center pump station over at Wheaton. So for next steps, we're going to work at finalizing the design report as we come into the final design, trying to compile some permits. We're currently doing public outreach, and then once we finalize the contract documents, close out the design grant monies by the end of the fiscal year, we can kind of move into the construction phase of the project. This slide's a little different from what was shown last time, mainly because the town meeting authorization isn't going to happen in May, it'll happen in October 2024. The design completion is still going to stay on the June 2024 deadline. At this point, we're looking to bid before town meeting in September of 2024, which will hopefully help us out if there's anything that pops up before town meeting. Assuming this article passes at the town meeting in October, we're hoping to start construction in November of 2024. And typically, we would see anywhere from a year for this type of construction. But assuming a little extra time for final paving, we're estimating maybe around May 2026, which still puts us before our construction grant deadline of June fiscal year 2026 at the end of June. That was a lot of information. With that, I open it up to questions. If anybody has any questions for me or for the panel. Yes.
A homeowner on Miller Cove is going to get built same as somebody on Elm Street, is that correct?
For the
Yeah.
betterment assessment?
Betterment, say, yes.
Yep, yes.
Even with no water main?
Even with no water main. So the water costs are done through the water rates, and that's specific, that's shared throughout the entire town. The sewer is just specific to that area, so that's, the sewer rates will be, the sewer betterment assistance will be issued to all the property owners fronted by the sewer. Because there's water throughout the entirety of the town, it's shared through that. And that's, the water user rates are used for that type of improvement, the water main utility improvement. So it's separate from the water.
Thank you.
I believe in the last meeting, we had 20 years to pay for this, now you mentioned 15. English is my second language, but you know, I think that's what I heard last time.
Yep, so the 20 years is for the betterment assessment. The Title V loan assistance program is a 15-year loan, so that's separate. That's just for the actual construction and connection into the sewer system.
One more question, why do we have to hire a private contractor to dig a trench from our house to the street? Why the homeowner doesn't decide to do it himself?
So I think it's a, I don't know if I think it's a town, it has to be an approved,
Well, they can pull their own permit.
yeah, I think they could pull a permit, but,
Because I'm a homeowner, I can, you know, go pull a permit to do whatever I want in my house, right?
Yeah.
So I go ahead and pull the permit to dig a trench.
mhm.
But it has to be like an insured bonded company that comes in and does the work, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, as long as we insurance, that's fine.
Mhm.
But I'm digging on my own property anyway, the house has insurance. If I dig in, you know, public property or someone else's house, it will be different, it's my
Yeah.
own home.
Mhm.
So yeah, you need to be an approved
It needs to
installer.
be approved by the
Yeah.
water department, but that's
No,
a
obviously you
very
gotta have to
easy
inspect,
process
like,
to do.
when, you know, the building inspector, if we do something in a house, they come and inspect what we did.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, so the same idea, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there a list of approved
Yes.
contractors
Yes.
that we can get?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, so Robin has that.
Yes.
And is the street gonna be repaved, the whole thing, after this is all done, not just patched?
Yes, yep. So the plan right now is there'll be a temporary patch after construction's finished. There's what we call the settlement period, so that it settles, they'll come and mill and overlay the entirety of the road.
And at the last meeting, I know you guys said that there was gonna be votes for everybody to vote, but I think you're now saying it's extended to October, is that correct?
Correct.
Correct, yep.
So, but the way you're sounding, it looks like we have to vote, right?
Correct.
The town has to vote,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah,
The
we
way
don't
my
we don't have the
wife's-
support of the town yet.
I'm just, it sort
Yeah,
of
because it
sounds
seems like you guys have a
it's
project
it
a month
sounds
right
like
after.
it's a
Yeah.
Right,
referendum,
the excavator's
so-
laying right at the end of the street.
That's why I just wanted to be sure
Yeah.
that the town has to vote and say yes first.
And one of the things that we're considering, what Ryan
Uh-huh.
said about opening bids before town meeting is one of the, you know, the uncertainties is the cost. And so if we have bids in hand, we have a better number on what the cost of the project is gonna be. A much
So
better
these
number.
prices could go up, these 8,500 to
Could go
12? 8 to
Could,
12?
yeah, they could go up or down, and we've given a wide range.
Yeah.
We have a high level of confidence it will be in that range.
Mhm.
No guarantee, that's why if we actually have a contractor on board with an actual bid, you know, then we've got a better
In
number.
conclusion, October's the voting now.
October town meeting,
It's no longer now, May or.
it is not in, it is.
It's not next Monday, no.
It's not on Monday.
Because it was May last.
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
Yeah, because it's funny, because I know I think you said it, this is pretty much gonna be the same as, but I'm not sure a lot of people now aren't gonna be aware, well, we'll let them know, I'm sure you guys would, that everything.
Yeah, no, I tried to lead in with that, yeah, the one
Yeah.
thing, the biggest thing that has
It's
changed
huge,
is
it's October now.
that it's October.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's more, you know, there's more work to be done over the summer,
Yeah.
to get people on board, to get the local boards on board with it. And like I said, the biggest thing is trying to get some better clarity on 47 Elm, and if, you know, what's gonna happen there.
Mhm.
And you said commercial and residential, when you say commercial, what are your thoughts on that? What is your thoughts, you know?
I don't know, Paul, you know what they're, so they said 10,000 square feet of commercial
Well,
space.
yeah, and I'm Paul, I'm the town planner. So this was a conversation we've had with them. They don't own the site and they haven't provided the town with any application. Because in order for anything to get built anywhere in town, especially something of a size like that, they have to go through the planning board, which are public hearings, and they haven't provided us with anything, and they can't because they don't own the site anyway, so that's down the road. But what we've heard from them is, you know, again, as was pointed out, about 140 to 150 units, and, you know, the first floor would be some sort of commercial development. But that could change once, you know, again, a lot of pieces have to fall into place to get to that point, but if it does, then that's all a public hearing as well, at planning board. We would notice people within the neighborhood. But, you know, that's a little ways away. And a lot of steps.
The pumping station, you had talked about that, not the ideal site, but is that the site for it? And it's not gonna be changed midstream through this?
At this point, the library park is the site we're pursuing.
We don't have 100% approval yet for that. We're working towards that. We've looked at a couple of other sites that have kind of been rolled out at this point, and that one just so next on our
I just
list.
wanna make sure it's not in front of my house, that's all.
Where is it in Library Park?
It'll likely be at the front, if you're looking at Library Park, it'll probably be in the front left corner, somewhere around there. And it's not like we're just gonna throw this building right there and have it be in the open. There's plenty of ways that we can put aesthetics around it and make it so that it blends in with the environment, if that's what we want.
Most of it's below grade, but there are above grade structures. And a little screening.
Any other questions?
Are you gonna have any more of these meetings before October, do you know?
I would imagine, yeah, I know we have more meetings with the members of the finance committee and the select board. So yeah, I think it's safe to say, we will schedule another meeting like this before the town meeting vote.
Yeah. Yeah, like, cause we got the letter on our street, obviously, about these meetings, so I'm sure they'll come out again before October.
Yeah.
It'd be good to know.
So we will receive another letter if you have another meeting coming up, or we have to follow up?
We'll send it up, we'll do it the same way. Yeah, I mean, this is for anybody in town that wants to come, but we send the letters, obviously we send the letters to the people that are
Yeah,
most
obviously, we
directly
live
impacted
not
by
far
it.
from there, you know what I
Yes,
mean?
yeah,
So
you're
we
the
live on
ones
same
that
street.
that have the
So
most.
we are interested
You have
to
the
know what's
most
gonna
skin in the
happen
game.
there.
Yeah, so we will do the same thing. We haven't finalized that, but I'll commit that we'll do another meeting similar to this in the summer when we have more information on what's going on at 47 Elm and what the final plan is.
Probably in September, not in the summer.
Right. Yeah, September, yeah, we'll take the summer off.
Does the funding go away if they don't?
Yeah, so this is kind of our last chance, that's why we were hoping to get it done at this upcoming meeting, but, so Ryan went through the schedule, so basically the construction grant monies have to be used up by the end of June 26.
Okay, and I don't know where you're putting 140 units on that property, the one across the street, but if they only put in 10 units, do our costs go up?
So we have to look at how that impacts everything. So yes, the betterment number will change.
Okay.
It's less.
I doubted they would only build 10 units. I mean, it just wouldn't be economical for them to just have to show more than that.
Have they submitted any preliminary designs or anything?
No, as I was saying earlier, they haven't submitted anything, and they can't.
They just try to decide if they're gonna take it on and sign on and start doing the cleanup. That's their biggest price tag. And that's been one of the other, like the reason the town wants to know what's going on. If we build it and they don't come in right away, then the town has that share that we're talking about. It's gonna be picked up by 47 Elm, and that's, that's why they'd like some more clarity that they're gonna have somebody that's gonna pick up that bill. And it's a balancing act because, you know, we feel strongly that whether it's this developer or somebody else, they can't do anything there of any substance without the sewer and without the water. They don't have the fire pressure that they need with the water that's out there now. So there's some sentiment that whether somebody's coming there or not, you take this, you use this grant and you build that, and that will significantly increase the chances that somebody is going to do it.
So if you guys decide to put, you know, all these units in Elm Street, are we gonna have more lighting on the street? Who's paying for that? And are we gonna have sidewalks on the street? Who's paying for that?
Well, again, that's really far down the road, but when that project comes in, those things like lighting on the site will become a factor. Down the road, that's a
Because all of
broader.
a sudden, you know, we adding a lot of more people on the neighborhood, and we already paid for the sewer and we paid for the water. So if they wanna make money, because obviously they're interested in making money, right? They are gonna be investing money. We wanna do something with the property, but at the same time, whatever's investing, they're looking forward to make a lot of money on that.
Right.
So they have to chip in some more, but then the residential's on the street. That's the way I'm looking at it, right? If they want to go invest, you wanna make all this money, you know, obviously they should chip in more and do sidewalks on the neighbor, on the street, might as well. And light the whole street. Right? Because they're gonna have, you know, we have a lot of kids from college walking on that street a lot of times, you know, walking on the road there. When it's fine, you know, I'm not against that at all.
Right.
But if you're gonna put a lot more people in there, so they should chip something extra because we got forced to pay this.
So when this is in front of the planning board, this is an opportunity to talk about that.
Yeah, because obviously, you
And
know,
if
if they're coming up with a lot of millions of dollars, so we don't have that type of money, so they can afford to pay for that.
And, you know, we will have, you know, we would love to get them to come down here and talk to the public as well. We've put that out there, and hopefully they will. Because again, when they're here, that's an opportunity for them to hear what what
No, I
your
am
wishes
concerned
are
about
for it.
that, otherwise, you know, we find money to get rid of the property and just let them grow wild, but have some deer growing there, you know? Rabbits, deer, coyotes, whatever. You know, and we don't have to invest all this money.
The important thing to remember here is that we have a $3.5 million grant to help pay for this. So anything
I
that...
understand, but at the same time, I'm getting a bill that I didn't expect.
No,
you know what
I
I'm saying?
understand.
And then if they want to invest this money, they gotta chip in. So put a benefit on the whole street.
Yeah, if I can finish. This right now is just about the water and sewer. It has nothing to do with the developer. If
And we'll have to do in the end, because if we let all this go in the end, you know, this is already passed, and now we got stuck with whatever comes up in the front of us. You know, we used to say before it gets too big, we gotta start telling everybody, you know, this is what we're looking forward for. Otherwise, we won't vote for it. Right? You agree when we're gonna do it? All right, let's do this then.
Right, so
Otherwise, when you get whatever you want, you're gonna say, hey, you know, now you have to pay for it. You got 7 years to pay for it, or 15 years to pay for it. You know?
So Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as the betterments going up, I'm pretty sure the plan is if for some reason the developer doesn't commit to the site, and for some reason this was voted in without the developer committing ahead of time, the plan was for the town to pay that the extra portion
Yep.
and then lien that property.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
So the betterments wouldn't be going up. That extra portion would be paid by the town, and the town needs that property.
When we lean it, yes.
Right.
Right. Town managers made that comment.
Meaning that once somebody does buy the property, they own it. Right. Which is, again, this whole balancing act, you know, you put another $1 million+ on the property, is it less attractive for someone to come in and develop that property? Trying to find that right now.
But time out.
Yeah.
What you said and what you said is wildly different. You
So-
said the money would go up if they didn't commit. You said that the money's not gonna go up if they.
If the project is,
So
so
we're-
we're basing it on 140 to 150 apartments.
Correct.
So if they come in with something less than that, we have to relook at the numbers.
But that would be made clear before it's voted on.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not gonna get voted in and then us say it's $20,000.
thank you,
No, you're right, yep.
thank you.
Okay, anyone else has any questions, concerns? All right,
Thank you very much.
we good?
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out.
We'll stick around,
So it's just-
we'll be here if anybody has any questions.